Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing my favorite drugstore and cruelty-free makeup products. Also, before I get into the video, I just want to say that this makeup tutorial will be up next Tuesday, and if you watch this after Tuesday, then the link will be down in the description box. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start with the order that you would put on makeup. So primer, foundation, concealer, you get it. So I have 4 different primers here and I couldn't really choose between one. So my first face primer is the NYX Angel Veil Primer, and I use this in a ton of my makeup tutorials. And I always talk about how I like it because it's kind of like, it kind of has the feeling of a silicone primer, but it dries on your face to where it doesn't feel slick and like slippery, if that makes sense. If you know what a silicone primer is, it's that really clear primer and it feels just very, very slippery. This is kind of like that, but it comes out white and it just like rubs in kind of like a lotion, and it pretty much disappears on your face, but it leaves your face feeling very smooth and dry almost, so your foundation goes on very, very smoothly. My next favorite I actually just discovered not that long ago. It is the NYX Shine Killer, and yes, a majority of these primers are from NYX Cosmetics. I don't know why, but I just really, really enjoy their primers. But this is the Shine Killer, and this is a silicone primer. And what I like about this is it is slippery, but it's not extremely slippery, so it's completely clear. And I use this whenever I'm having a very, very dry day, because if you use silicone primers when you're really, really oily, I feel that it makes your face way more oily than it needs to be. So I would stick with that primer if you're very, very dry, like in the winter time. It just feels so smooth on the skin and helps the foundation to lay very evenly throughout your whole face. The next primer is also from NYX, and this is the Nyx Hydratouch. I use this whenever my skin, again, is feeling very dry. This is not a silicone, this is kind of like a gel, and it just absorbs into your skin. It feels very, very cool and refreshing on your skin, and I would only recommend this to people with pretty dry skin. I would not use it if you're oily. And the next one is actually the most recent primer that I've found, but I completely fell in love with it, and that is the Flower Erase Everything Primer, and it comes in a little bottle like this. And Flower, if you don't know what that is, it's a brand by Drew Barrymore, and I'm pretty sure they sell it at Target, so it's not technically a drugstore brand, but it is at Target and it's fairly cheap. But what I like about it is it comes with like this little brush applicator thing, and you squeeze the bottle and then you brush it on, and it's kind of like the Angel Veil, I would say. And it goes into your skin and dries immediately, so I would really, really recommend this one for people with oily skin. It has such a nice scent, and I find that it keeps my foundation looking really, really good throughout the whole day. So again, I would recommend these 2 for dry skin types and these 2 for oily skin types. Try to stay away from silicone and gel-like products if you're oily, and stay towards the drier primers. Next, for foundation, I only have 2, and one of them kind of isn't like, I'm not extremely excited about it. I do want to talk about it though, because this is the Milani Conceal and Perfect. A lot of people rave about this foundation, and I really, really, really like this foundation too. I love the coverage and how it sits on your skin and how it stays throughout the whole day, but I hate how the lightest shade is way too dark to be the lightest shade. This is like my shade in the summertime when I'm like tanned and stuff. It's just way too dark to be the first shade in the line. I don't know, but I love the coverage and I love how it sits on the skin. So if you want to try it and you're extremely pale like I am, what I do is I always mix a really, really light concealer in with the foundation, and it looks really, really good. Next, I discovered from Raw Beauty Kristi when I was in the NYX Face Awards, and this is the Nyx HD Studio Foundation. I love this stuff. It reminds me of the Born This Way foundation by Too Faced, except it's a little bit more high coverage and a little bit more matte. I just love how it sits on the skin and how it stays throughout the day. Again, staying power is one of my most wanted things in foundations, and this does a really, really good job of staying throughout the day as long as you're setting it well enough. That's my trick to foundation staying all day, is make sure that you're setting it really, really well with powder. And then for concealer, I only have one just because I'm not a huge fan of drugstore concealers. I find them to be not very high coverage and the shades are just never really matching me very well. My favorite ever concealer is the Maybelline, crap, I forgot what it's called, but I used to use it in my tutorials all the time, and it's by Maybelline. And I don't use it anymore because they are not cruelty free. That was like the only concealer that I really liked. The next ones that compare to it are the NYX HD concealers. These aren't as high coverage as I would want them to be. They sit on the skin really nicely. They don't look too oily. They don't look too cakey as long as you're setting them correctly. They're just not as high coverage as I would want them to be. But if I'm reaching for a drugstore concealer, it's definitely this one. Next is powder, and I think whoever watches my tutorials on a regular basis knows what I'm gonna say. My favorite drugstore and cruelty-free powder is the Wet n Wild COVERALL pressed powder in Fair. I use this stuff like crazy. I've probably gone through like 20 of these, and I just love how mattifying it is and how it keeps your foundation locked in all day. And my favorite part is that it's only a couple bucks. Like, that is so crazy to me. It is a Wet n Wild product. They're a very cheap brand. Not like cheap in quality, but their makeup items are always so inexpensive. And I do go through these quite quickly just because I use my beauty blender in them to pack on the powder underneath my eyes, and that kind of makes the product go away pretty fast. But they're so inexpensive that I don't even care. They work for baking and all over the face, which is what I love, and it's just a really easy product to work with. And it doesn't have flashback, which is something that is very, very hard to find in powders. The next powder also leads into the next step, and that is the Mega Glow by Wet n Wild. This is their contour palette. I really love this color of their powder. It's very neutral in tone, but it has a little bit of peachiness underneath it, which is what I need, especially for my skin tone. I'm a little bit peachy and a little bit yellowy. But my favorite part about this is the contour color, and it looks literally identical to the Hoola bronzer by Benefit. Okay, this is the very last Hoola bronzer that I have because I don't use them anymore because Benefit does sell to China. Ugh, I don't know if you can tell, but they're like the exact same color. It's so crazy. And this bronzer goes on very, very smoothly. I have it on my face today. I never have problems with chalkiness or blotchiness when I'm using this color. I just love how neutral it is, and that's so hard to find in drugstore bronzers. And this is in the color Dulce de Leche. Dulce de Leche? Did I say that right? So the next item after that kind of goes in with powders as well, I guess. But this is the NYX Highlight and Contour Pro Palette. And I like to compare this to the Anastasia Contour Palette, but it has more shades than that, I'm pretty sure. But it has more shades than the Anastasia one. I'll just compare. So this one is the NYX, and this one's from Anastasia. And the colors look literally identical. It's just that the NYX has a little bit more variety. But I'm looking very closely at the two, and they're pretty much literally identical. It's just the NYX has two more extra colors. I'm not really sure, I can't remember how much this is at the drugstore or wherever they sell NYX at your local store. I do know this is a little bit spendy at the drugstore, but it is a contour palette and it has so many shades and it's literally huge, like it's a huge palette. So I do think that it is worth it. It will last you a long time, and it's really something that you could use every single day. Next is blush, and I don't really have a favorite drugstore blush, but I will mention the ones that I use the most. This is the Wet n Wild ColorIcon blush. This is a really dark color. I actually haven't used this one. I just couldn't find my other colors. But I like these because they're matte and they don't look too chalky on the face. They're very pigmented though, so you have to go really easy with the application. Next is highlight, and my day one YouTube family probably knows this answer. My original favorite highlighter is the Physicians Formula Mineral Glow Pearls in Translucent Pearl. And this is a very, very subtle highlight, but it is so pretty. I still use it every day when I'm just doing a normal everyday makeup look and I'm not like filming or anything. I love this highlight. It's so good. And one of these lasts for years. I swear it lasts so long. I had one for probably like 2.5 years and I just got a new one. And then the next one, if you want to go a little bit more intense, I recommend the Strobe of Genius by NYX. I've talked about this before. I can't remember if I mentioned it in a favorites or not, but this is a very intense highlighting palette. I love it so much. I think it is a little bit more spendy, but it is a giant palette filled with different kinds of highlights. But this color right here is my favorite. It's so hard to swatch highlights on camera, but I use this in so many different of my tutorials. I used it in my 5-minute summer makeup tutorial and everyone was like, oh my God, that is such a good highlight. But yeah, this is one of my favorites. It's very universal. You can use it on pretty much everyone. I bring it to my weddings all the time just because I get different skin tones with different people and it has quite a range with different highlights is what I like. Next we'll go to brows, and I'm sure everyone knows this answer too. My favorite ever brow pencil from the drugstore is the NYX MicroBrow. It is exactly like the Anastasia Brow Wiz, which I actually just used the Brow Wiz for the first time like last week, but it's a really, really good eyebrow pencil. But this is super, super comparable. I think it's $10 at the drugstore, but the Anastasia one is like $20+, I'm pretty sure. But this will last you a long time. It's a very thin eyebrow pencil and it's so easy to work with, and the taupe color is perfect for blondes. I live for the taupe brow pencil color. Next brow product is the NYX Eyebrow Gel in Blonde, and this is a little bit more warmer than the taupe color, but they don't have taupe in the eyebrow gel, so Blonde is the closest to taupe. I like to use this when I know that I'm either going to get water on my face at some point, so like during the summer, or if I'm gonna sweat a lot, because this stuff does not come off. It is like super glue for your brows. It's so good, and it's super, super pigmented, so you don't need to use a lot of product for one application. For brow gel, I just wanted to mention that I will use literally any clear brow gel that you can find. The one that I've been using lately is the Wet n Wild Megaclear. It works pretty well. It's not like super glue for your brows, but it keeps your hairs in place throughout the day. So I don't have any eyeshadows that are my favorites. I just have yet to find a drugstore eyeshadow palette that I'm in love with. I find that drugstore eyeshadows, no matter what brand, where you get them, whatever, they're always chalky or just not pigmented at all, and they're really hard to work with. So if any of you have suggestions on what eyeshadows you like, I would comment it down below so that other people can see your suggestions, because I don't really have one for myself. Next item is for liquid liner, and for those of you who know me know that I'm very picky about my liquid eyeliners. And my favorite one from the drugstore ever is the Physicians Formula Eyebooster eyeliner in the color Ultra Black. And this is like exactly like the Kat Von D tattoo liner. It doesn't dry completely matte, which is something that I don't really like that much about this, but the application is so easy. It's very, very pigmented. It's not streaky at all, and it will stay on all day. I love this stuff, and I use it pretty much every time that I put on a cat eye eyeliner. Next, for mascara, I have been using the Flower Ultimate Zoom In mascara like crazy. This is the brand by Drew Barrymore, and I just love the wand of this. It's very long and thin, and it's able to get into all of your eyelashes at once, and it doesn't make your eyelashes clumpy, which is my favorite thing. It goes on pretty much the same as the Benefit Roller Lash, which was my favorite mascara before I went cruelty free. And then I had to mention my favorite lower lash mascara, and this is the one by Pixi. It's called the Lower Lash Mascara, and it has the tiniest little wand you could ever imagine. It's so cute, but it's such a genius idea because it gets into your lower lashes the best I've ever tried with any mascara, and it's like foolproof because it prevents you from touching your lower lash line or messing up your mascara or your eyeshadow that you have underneath it. And then for falsies, you guys probably already know that the Ardell Wispies are my favorite. They're just a very beautiful style, and the band is super, super thin, so they're very easy to put on, and it feels like you're not wearing anything, which is my favorite part. Now for lips, my favorite liners are the NYX. These are just the original pencil eyeliners. I don't know if I like the retractable ones because they're very waxy and they break super easily. So I like the pencil ones better. It's just annoying because you have to sharpen them, but that doesn't really bug me that much. I use these whenever I'm lining my lips no matter what. I don't really use any other lip liners, but I love these because the staying power of these are so good. They will last you the entire day. I don't know what it is about them, but they will literally stay on your lips forever. And then for lipstick, again, are some Nyx products. You know, Nyx just really hits it with the primers and the lipsticks. I don't know what it is about them, but they have the best drugstore primers and the best lipsticks. My favorites from Nyx are the Lip Lingeries, and these are so beautiful and they last very well. They're not the longest lasting liquid lipsticks ever. They do dry very beautifully and they last pretty well on your lips throughout the day. I just love the mauve tones and the nudes that they have. You don't really find these kinds of colors at the drugstore, especially in liquid lipsticks. And then my other favorites for like crazy looks are the liquid suedes, because the liquid suedes from Nyx have the most craziest, outrageous colors that you could ever imagine. So I like to have these for whenever I'm wanting to do like a crazy colorful look. They do dry pretty well and they do last throughout the day pretty well. They, again, are not the longest lasting liquid lipsticks, but I do love the formula. I love how creamy they are and how pigmented they are. And to end the video, I'm going to talk about my favorite drugstore setting spray, and this is the Nyx Matte Finish setting spray. I love the size of it, I love the formula, I love how it has no scent, and it just feels very lightweight and non-chemical-y, which is what I like, because there's a lot of setting sprays out there that kind of like burn my eyes because it feels so like chemical-y and just not right. So I like this because it kind of just feels like spraying water on your face, but it also helps keep your foundation lasting longer. So that was my huge list of my current favorite drugstore and cruelty-free makeup products. I hope that I answered a bunch of you guys' questions because I get this video request all the time. I am thinking about doing my favorite cruelty-free high-end makeup products, so let me know down below if you want to see that as well. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye guys.